Welcome back to the R-Rated Podcast. The R-Rated Podcast. This week's guest is...
Welcome back to the R-Rated Podcast. Today's guests are Nate Lyles and Hunter Klein. Nate is a familiar face on the podcast, and Hunter is new. So welcome. Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks
so
for
glad
coming.
to be here.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about a project that you guys are working on. We're going to talk about the Kickstarter and the fundraising, all that fun stuff, how the inspiration came to be, how you guys met. Yeah, let's start with that. How'd you guys meet?
I was looking for an apartment out here in LA because, that's always fun.
Yeah.
Not
really, though.
Yeah, sarcasm. Friend of mine, Curtis, who was in a couple of my movies, he was roommates with Hunter, and then he was moving out. And so Hunter was like, didn't you have to do a vigorous interview with Hunter in order to get into the apartment?
It was like interrogation. You're like, who have you roomed with before?
Yep. How many roommates have you killed? All that good stuff.
Yeah, you gotta ask these questions.
It was a few years ago.
I swapped out with him and moved up with Hunter.
Did you guys know that you guys were filmmakers prior to moving in together? Or did you guys find that out after?
Yeah, because Curtis had mentioned that you were a filmmaker, that you were a director, that you were generally awesome.
Oh, you said that?
Well, I may be paraphrasing.
Right.
Well, for everyone to know, Nate is a creative artist. He loves to direct films, and Hunter loves to write. He's a writer. How do you get your inspiration when you write scripts? And what do you like to write? Like, what genre?
I write for quite a few different genres, but my specialty is writing for animation and family-friendly content.
Fun, okay.
I have loved animated content since I was little, because most of that's your first one.
Right.
But, while other people moved on in middle and high school to Degrassi or some dramas.
Classic. Yes, yeah.
I was like, nah, I'm still gonna be watching me some Sailor Moon and all these other shows because they're awesome. So it was just something I was passionate about. Animation is such a cool genre because it has this ability to pierce through all the walls that we build around ourselves and speak directly to the emotional core, to that little kid inside, whether it's more kid-centric animation or even more adult animation.
I love that. Are there any kid movies that really stood out to you that kind of inspired you to want to be an animation writer?
I would say... It's going to sound weird and probably a bit niche, but the DreamWorks Madagascar series.
Oh my... I love Madagascar.
It was so much fun.
So much fun. So much fun.
Yeah, that movie, in addition to just being fun, I really connected to the characters. I think, Alex the Lion in those movies was my very first male role model.
I love that.
I was raised in an almost all-female household.
Wow.
All my friends were females.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any guys to look up to, per se.
Yeah.
But in that movie, I was like, oh, he's like me. He likes to dance. He likes to just get out there. He's brave and also dealing with some stuff. So I was like, I kind of want to do that too.
I love that. Okay.
I never knew that.
I love that. And so for you, the last time you were on the podcast, you told us the story about how you came from Philadelphia. You drove across country with $750 in your wallet.
720.
720. Oh shit, almost there. So where are you now? What's going on? What are you working on? How have things changed?
Oh man. Well, things have happened more than I guess hoped for, even thought about. I came out here trying to do a Batman Beyond project.
Right.
And that's all I was really focused on. And I was like, if I could do other small things around town, then that'd be cool. Because before I moved out here, I hadn't done much, especially not in the genre that I wanted to, which is these comic book genres. So I was like, this is the first time I'll be doing something with a comic book character. And I fell in love with it. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to do this again. But then the people that I met on that project, they still work. I still work with them now. So I've been able to go to Comic-Con consecutively for the past 4 years.
That's awesome.
But it's been, I guess 2020 don't count, right?
I mean,
that's the thing.
We can make it count. Yeah, we'll make it count.
So 3 consecutive Comic-Cons.
Yeah.
I've been able to take fan films of the comic book genre to these Comic Cons. So that's way more than I could have even
That's amazing.
expected.
And what are you doing at the Comic Con? Like, do you have a panel? Like,
we have a panel.
Are you dressing up?
I don't dress up, no, but I don't dress up only because I'm gonna be at the panel, and
right.
I can't do like what do you call it, wardrobe changes and stuff like that, because I got like, so much on my mind, and I gotta coordinate with the panel and everything.
That's fair.
But we each year I will premiere a movie, and then within that movie find something about the movie to where I can have a panel that isn't just talking with the actors and the crew, but actually like giving some insight to the audiences. Like first year it was Static Shock, and he's like not a well-known character. He's a young black man. Yeah. So like we talked about diversity. The panel was about diversity in filmmaking in the comic book genre, as well as Q&A with the audience. And then the next one we did was Uncharted from the video game actually, and that was a project brought to me to direct, and it was brought to me by stunt people. So the panel was about stunt work in film and stuff like that, and that type of thing. And then we did most recently, which is about how to make a fan film, and we did that with Constantine, which Hunter wrote that too.
Wow. Okay. So what's
and you see why I went to him for writing, because the animation and the where he finds his inspiration from, like that's perfect for the comic book genre.
I was gonna say, how did you find inspiration to write all these fan films, and like what are things that fans look for in these fan films? Like what are like you should have this in the fan film, like you kind of have to for it to be like legit and be like categorized. Both of you, like in your opinions.
I'll say real quick for me, because like I'm not sure how much work he put into his scripts. I don't consider myself a writer, so I thought about what I wanted to see,
right.
And I was like, well, if I want to see it, I'm sure I'm not the only one,
right?
So it's like that's why I did an Ironheart and a Static Shock. And like these are not well-known characters, but I know someone wanted to see them live action because
I didn't know about Ironheart until you. Literally,
Okay, now she's in the Marvel movie.
Exactly, and I was like, holy shit! Like, Nate, we did that like years ago, like 5-6 years ago, right? And I'm like, now they're
even Riri, like, cause not Riri, even Kamala Khan, because that's
the character I played.
Now she's got a Marvel.
Exactly.
Let's see. When I'm working on fan films, one of the first things that my screenwriting teacher taught me back when I was getting like my MFA in screenwriting, was that a writer who loves their work is a writer who does their research. Like there's a bit of a difference between like the film that I wrote last year for Constantine and this one. Like when I approached Constantine, I didn't have a ton of background knowledge about Constantine. Okay. So I knew of him, and I'd had a bit of exposure to him. Right. But I wanted to make sure I was doing the character right. And when you're doing like an adaptation of something, whether it's anything, you have to love those characters. You have to find, even if like you wouldn't normally love them, you have to find something about them you fall in love with. Because the fans, they love these characters. They love them so hard. And if you don't find a way to put that love into it, fans can tell. Even like in a lot of modern applications right now, if a fan sees a film, they can tell like there's a contempt or apathy for the character. They can sense that. So when I did my research, I got to think about all the points that I could love about him. He's a charisma-based character, to put it in nerdy D&D terms.
I love it.
He is a con artist. He's not a straightforward fighter, and I connect with that because, I can't take anyone to fight. You see these arms? They ain't punching nobody. I'll break my wrist. Scratch.
Right, instead of meow.
I connected with that because I like clever people. I like figuring out things around things. In addition to my love of animation, I also love things like mysteries. I love heist films. I love things that are complicated and create an interweaving web that and as a writer, it's such a joy to be able to work with those kinds of scripts because you have to think like 15 steps ahead and connect every single dot perfectly. And I enjoy that intricacy. So when I was writing Constantine, I got to think in the mindset of a con artist and how I can make this show off as a writer, like his skills, but also as a con artist, what would be the best ways to trick, manipulate, and swindle people instead of just like a 1v1.
I like that.
Nate is like, he is an amazing fight choreographer. He knows action scenes inside, outside, through the loop-de-loop. So
With a lot of assistance from Brandon and Joe.
Well, a lot of assistants. That is very true. Those are very skilled people. But like, so like there is action in those films,
Right.
and when I put that action in there, like I'm intending to use it. Like I'm thinking about it like in terms of the story points. How do I get from here to here? It's got to have action, excitement, all that.
Right.
But when Nate sees that scene, he's thinking choreography. He's thinking, how do I make this spectacular? How do I show it off and just give it the like full director's treatment?
I want to say competing, but like, yeah, when these major studios are shooting out all these superhero films, and like, do you guys feel like they're being done right, or like, does it feel more of like a money grab? Like, how do you guys feel about all the new superhero movies between DC and Marvel? Like,
I'm just happy to see them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's, I don't know, money grab. I'm sure if one of them does well, they're going to keep making them and keep putting them out there. I'm just happy to see it because I'm from an era where if I'm reading comics in class, I'm getting smacked in the back of the head called a nerd and shit like that. Got to box people out just because I like reading comic books. So I've been happy to see them on screen.
for you, it's exciting for sure. That
and you know, I'm not stuck to one version of anything. So it's like you got like 4 different Jokers and 6 different Batmans. Everyone has a different iteration of what that is. I'm about to put one out there. It's going to be different. Like every artist has their own rendition. As long as they choose like I guess the core elements of a character.
When you guys are writing this or thinking about creating this, are you writing with a budget in mind, or is it just like where the imagination takes you, or what how you want to write it, and then you figure out budget after?
Well, I forget. One of them, I think I was like, don't worry about or think about the budget. Like having minimal locations and things like that, because he knows what we're working with.
Right.
And then after I read it, I'm like, all right, we can get this funding. We can do it. And then I'll be like, man, we can just do what you got to do. But it kind of is both. Have I ever said anything about a budget to you? Do you remember?
For Batman versus Riddler, I remember you told me not to worry as much about the budget, which is why it has like certain different locations.
Right.
But the thing about me is I am a budgeter. In my daily life, I calculate things. Right. I am always watching money, sometimes obsessive. So when I'm going in, I'm like, okay. He's like, don't worry as much about the budget. Part of me is like, but the budget a little bit. Right. So when I was writing it, like, I was like, okay, I have the freedom to think about elements of the budget a little more loosely. Right. But let's still not go crazy. Like, not to put in, like, exploding planes or here's my $300,000 set piece. I hope it works. Right. Oh, God. No, it's like, okay, I need locations that at a minimum level, if we were going for, like, a shoestring budget, these would function. Right. And then, as a next stage level, if we had a bit more, they could be enhanced. Right. And then just keep going that. So a multi-stage budgeting thing plotted out based on a theoretical ability to receive certain amounts of funding that could enhance from the base to an extreme. Got it. With Constantine, that was, I knew would be a little tighter than Batman versus Riddler, because there was not the permission to, go ham. Yeah. But regardless, I still planned for things.
Like locations on that one.
So let's talk about Batman and the Riddler. So you're making, you want to make a fan film, right?
He wrote a fight scene?
Technically, there is a fight scene. Yeah. And then a sort of kind of fight scene. Okay. But that's but the fight scene that I wrote
with Batman
took place in a hallway, less than it was like maybe half a page, quick, easy, because I'm focusing on, I'm a mystery lover, so I'm focusing on the mystery, the complexity, the riddles.
Thank you.
Yeah. But Nate here.
Batman's fucking a lot of people up in this one. So this fight scene going to be extended. Fun. I like it's going to be extended because we got people that got some skill, and I'm sure they want to show it off. And that is part of what I love about doing the fan films with my friends and stuff, because if they get involved and you go to Comic-Con and they see their work up there, you get to present their skills and everything too. Right. But yeah, the fight scene was kind of quick, and I was like, oh, that's what's up. He just a little punch again, knocked him out.
Right, because the Riddler, like
8 people in there.
I know that he has like these little riddles and stuff that he leaves behind for Batman to find and stuff. But like, is he like supposed to be strong, or like, what's his like? If they actually get into a fight, like, what would be the odds of him actually beating Batman?
The odds.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't think,
-6.
like, for someone who doesn't know, like, the specifics, like me, like, describe him to me. Like, how do you imagine the Riddler?
So when I was writing the Riddler in this case, especially because I was thinking from that intellectual standpoint, I wasn't imagining him as a fighter. I was writing him as someone. How does he win? Through puzzles, through riddles, through outsmarting.
Like mental games almost, too.
Like, if he's, like if it's just 1v1 with someone, like, he's got, like, an okay amount of skill.
Right.
Like, he's not an MMA fighter or something. Don't go there.
Right.
But I was like, he's gonna win because he has thought 37 steps ahead of the opponent and has prepared everything to his advantage.
Right.
His big weakness in not just luring them into the din of 1,000 drones that are shooting you up is the game, because he's a games master. He is playing the game with the opponent, and he wants them to lose. Not just to him, but also to the riddle.
Right.
Even though there's part of him that may want them to succeed to find a worthy adversary.
Oh.
I would say, like, because Batman, that's why, ever since I was little, I wanted to do or see live action Batman versus Riddler, because, like, he's the world's greatest detective.
Right.
Versus, I guess the world's greatest villain of using riddles and trickery and stuff.
Right.
And so, if they were just to go hand-to-hand combat, Batman could whip his ass, of course, but, like Hunter was saying, like, you get into it, like, Batman gets into an arena with Riddler, it's because Riddler wanted him there, or put him there, like, using, like, schemes and riddles, and it's that type of fighting is what I enjoy the most. That's why I like Lex Luthor as a super villain to Superman. Cool. He's not like going to go there and try to go hand in hand with Superman. He's going to think like 80 steps ahead or something like that. Now the man's president for some reason. How do you become president? Now you can't talk to him, Superman. What you going to do? Like, you're going to besmirch your image or whatever. Right. So that type of, like, and like even in this, like Batman's figuring out the clues because he finds, and of course Riddler is like, all right, well, Batman's formidable. He'll get to a point where he'll figure out clues and he'll be right where I need him to be. Then I'll approach him and I'll even have something else up my sleeve because I'm prepared for Batman to be what he is, So, I mean, that's what makes him a formidable character and why I love it. Like, you're saying, like, with the heist movies, watch something like Ocean's 11 and then, like, at the end of the movie, they backtrack to how they did all their, like...
Oh, how they got it done. Yeah,
you're like,
that. Oh, yeah.
I can't write that, which is why I went down. I was like, hey... I'll have a bunch of cute cards and everything, moving them around and sticky notes, and I'm like, maybe if I move this here, that's taking too much. I can't do it. I want to create it though. It's just I can't do the story. So luckily,
did you ever have writer's block when you were writing this new one, the Batman versus Riddler?
Actually, this one it came very easily. Like when I was little. Yeah. So bit of backstory. I have some history with Batman.
Oh yeah, let's hear. Yeah, I was wondering like what the. I mean, obviously Batman's a great character, but I was wondering why you guys chose Batman out of all the superheroes. Like was there a personal attachment or what it was?
Sorry, real quick. Like the lion to him and Madagascar, that's what Batman was. He was my moral compass, and him and Wolverine.
Ooh,
Batman more so, but like he was like my moral compass.
Okay, guys with abs.
I mean, there's some there.
I know. I'm cool with that.
Even like him just being physically fit and mentally fit, being in control.
Yeah, of course.
There's a lot of
You're
stuff
like, it's not just the abs. I'm like, right.
Just the mental discipline and stuff like that. And then there was Bruce Lee, but I guess so.
Another man with abs. But it's mentally strong too. Okay, so that's awesome. And for you?
I'm curious.
So, backstory.
Yeah.
I come from a town built around a giant asylum/prison.
No way. Wait, what? That's so interesting.
A rat-a-tat-tat and a rooty-toot-toot.
What was that?
I hail from the town with the Institute. Go Marion. That is literally our town cheer.
No.
So,
I love it.
In my hometown, there is a giant asylum/prison that sits on a hill surrounded by boulders with a barbed wire fence, guard towers, the whole shebang. And when I was little, I lived in my grandma's house down the street, and sometimes escaped mental patients would come and sleep
You're
under
joking.
our house.
Oh, under the house.
Like, under the house.
That's a movie right there. What the heck?
I get told that all the time.
No, seriously, you should write that script. That's actually really interesting. And then it's like they hear people like you hear noises and they're like, "Where's that coming from?" And then it turns out there's people living underneath the house.
It was the perfect place for them because it was down a side street. We were next to a river. The river means running water. Dogs can't
Right.
track them.
Right.
I remember one time when I was a little kid, I was walking through the kitchen, minding my own business, late at night, gonna get some water. And then I look up, bam, a crazy person staring at me through the window.
That is so scary.
I screamed, he ran,
Oh,
terrifying then, funny now. But I've always had, since I was little, because I lived around an asylum, a connection with mental health.
Right.
And not only that, but my biological dad, he is like a giant comic book nerd. He was introducing me to Batman almost as soon as like I could read.
Right.
So between like the asylums of Arkham and the asylums of right next door, I connect to those characters.
Yeah.
As
Hold on now. How strong of a connection? Hold on now.
Yeah.
some say I moved from my hometown, others say I escaped.
Mystery. We don't know.
But
Wow,
that's where my love comes from.
That's where the love comes from. That's really cool. And now, like how cool of a feeling to actually, make it happen and stuff. And it's really cool that you guys are taking that extra step to write it and get it produced and get it shot and get it out there.
I was gonna say, for me, this project comes full circle with my moving out here, doing Batman
Right.
Beyond.
Yeah.
I put it like in the Kickstarter thing, but like it's just I chose Batman Beyond because I was always nervous to do Batman. It's kind of like when you meet your heroes, I guess that type of thing, or just me trying to do a Batman movie,
Right.
but then not doing it good. Like that would hurt me, and I wouldn't want to like just be like I'm not putting it out. So I wanted to do it right, I guess. And I love sci-fi and I love Batman, so I was like, let me do Batman Beyond first. But I like once I get enough skill and I feel like I'm there, then I want to do Batman, the Batman that I see, the Batman that I know. Like you see all these renditions of them. Like Batman Begins came out, and then you got Christian Bale and Affleck now and stuff like that. And I want to do the Batman that I like, and my Batman is in the shadows a lot more. That's why I like Batman Begins a lot.
I was gonna ask, how is your Batman movie different from other Batman movies that we might have seen so far?
I would say this one, for me, it differs. It's just the way I'll direct the Batman to be.
Right.
He is in with the cops like the Robert Pattinson one was, if y'all need a reference, and but he doesn't really walk among them like he was too much, but he can.
Right.
I don't know if all your references came from the 2004 The Batman cartoon.
Yeah.
So this one has a Asian female lead, is Detective Yin, and like she's as much a star in it as Batman is. So they're working the case together. And for me, this Riddler is the way I'm going to direct him is more psychotic.
I like that.
He has
Fun.
more mentally ill than the one that's been portrayed in live action before and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I want this Batman to be in the shadows more too.
When you're saying like more mentally ill than like tapping into the whole mental health thing, like how, like what kind of mental health is like the Riddler gonna have? Like personality disorder or like
or loses a grandeur at some point. What would you say? Any mental illnesses he have as far as like because of why he's doing what he does in this one?
Oh, the mental health aspect was one of the heaviest aspects I leaned into when I was exploring the character of the Riddle for this rendition.
Yeah.
Like when I was thinking about his psychology, I was trying to figure out what would drive someone to this specific kind of thing. Why the riddles? Why is he making these games?
Yeah, that's a question that I would ask too. Like, why is he so obsessed with doing these riddles? You know?
In the past, like a lot of comic book portrayals, like give him things like just he wants to be smarter than everybody, ego things. I was like, that's not elegant enough.
Yeah, exactly.
When I like to write, I want to make sure there's some elegance, some nuance to it.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I would say I try to like make different in this is like from other Batman films is using elements of elegance that may not normally be paired with something as actiony as a normal Batman. So when I was exploring his, I also started to look at like my own psychology, like delving into what would make me become a villain of this style.
Right.
And I started to go into the aspect of questions. Have you ever had those elements where you go about your life asking yourself the questions you can never get 100% an answer to.
Yeah.
Am I doing things right in life?
Right.
Why do
bad things happen to good people? Yeah.
Like, why am I still alive? Why is this justified? Why is any of this happening?
Why is it so hard to find a job?
Why is it so hard to find a job in the entertainment industry?
Right.
But this is, like, for some, like, it can already create mental health issues.
Yeah.
But what about someone whose entire identity is built around the fact that he is good at riddles and solving puzzles and making games? But these are questions he can never find out a 100% accurate answer to. This gives him a form of existential dread that continually creeps in him day and night for all the questions he's never able to answer.
Right.
And I was... as I was exploring that, the tool of the riddles, the games, I almost used it as his way to invite people into that headspace. When he's challenging people to riddles, he is bringing them into his own state of mind, constantly in that dread of not knowing how to fix things, solve things. What am I going to do next? And if you feel like you don't solve it, it could just explode. Yeah. In which case, they could die.
Right. They could die.
Like, a little bit further, like when I was coming up with the design for how it went in the look, and I have him with like the scratches on his face. Because the design I have, like, it's just these scratches he has that creates kind of a question mark on his cheek. And in my like backstory on him, like every time he's about to go into another, like, you know, I don't call it a fit, but like when he's about to set up another scheme or whatever, like he'll just reopen those wounds just to make sure they're fresh. And I was thinking, like you know, what got him here, and there were questions when he was younger. I don't want to get too specific because I like to leave it open to the audience for interpretation as well. Like when there were questions when he was younger that he couldn't get answered, something like why do bad things happen to good people?
Right.
Something happened maybe with his mother, his parents, or something like that. He didn't know why. He never knew why. He couldn't figure out why. And as the riddles came into his life, however they came into his life, as he got older, he, along with wanting, like you said, like he wants people to feel that. I was thinking that he would be the answer to why, like, or he's finding the answers in his actions. Like, why do bad things happen to good people? Well, let me do this. This is just part of it. Like he's doing bad things to good people, in order for him to figure out why it's happening. Like if I do this, maybe I'll find the answer. Maybe I am the answer, as well as maybe people will give me the answer by me doing this. Maybe I'll discover an answer as to why that happened in my past and stuff like that. Just to keep the memories fresh of what happened to him when he was young. He reopens the wounds. That's just a part of it, though. But that's just how I came to him getting the scars.
That's cool. Like I like that. And so the script is like you finished it. Like it's done. 30 pages. It's done. It's good to go. So now, what stage are we at now?
Right now we have the crowdfunding, the tough part.
Say it into the mic. What?
The crowdfunding,
crowdfunding
tough part.
Okay, so for people who have no idea about this project, what are you looking for the crowdfunding, and what is your goal?
Deadline is August 14th, and we're trying to raise $20,000, and that's for like cast and crew and locations. Sorry, locations in California are crazy.
Very expensive. Yeah,
that's like one of the main things. Like when
where the money goes to. Yeah,
that's why she was like, "Yeah, shoot outside for like Constantine in the woods. It's cheaper to not to be at a location, I guess."
Yeah, that's true. Like
food,
people
travel.
always say, right, with like the resources that you have, right? Because I mean, as soon as you need to start renting locations and maybe even permits, it just jacks up the price. Yeah. Then you have to get like insurance in case something gets damaged and all this crazy stuff. So
I'm on insurance.
So 20,000. That's your final goal for how much you need.
That's the Kickstarter goal. 18,000 is the exact price, but there's $2,000 of fees and taxes and stuff like that.
Oh, I see.
So $20 is what our Kickstarter is, and like I said, it goes to cast and crew, traveling, locations, props, costuming, and feeding people. And it's going to be a 6-day shoot, likely non-consecutive, because like a lot of it's volunteer. Like we're gonna have like some volunteers on this
Yeah.
too. So like we have to work with people's schedules and things like
Right.
that. I mean, I wish I wait the day where I could be like, listen, everybody take a week off. So, and then there are fight scenes that gotta get choreographed and things like that. So
right.
people have to get paid for that space to practice fights. And, you know, we gotta practice it so people don't break their necks.
If you were like, if you hit the goal, let's say of like 18,000, 20,000, like pretty quick, would you raise the price, the money, the actual goal?
What they go to extension goal?
Stretch goal?
Yeah, I think there's like a stretch goal.
There's a stretch goal.
Yeah.
And if that happened, then we would get a better costume, I guess.
Right,
It would go more to the costume and props and that look of the film and things like that.
That's what I was going to say. Like, share what the difference could actually do, right? I mean, like, when you have a more flexibility with the budget, you can have higher quality outfits, makeup, special effects, stunts, whatever it is. Like, it's not just like, oh, you know, give us money so we can just have like a big budget for nonsense. Like, no, like it really goes to different, like so many different things. And like people who don't always make films don't really always understand how expensive it is. Cause you know, like a lot of people think it's like, well, if you have a camera, you're pretty much good to go. But it's like, no, that's, you know, you have to pay for sound, like the gear, the person doing the sound, the actors, the food, the location, the music. Oh yeah. Like the stunts, like all this stuff, makeup, props, hair, production design, like costumes.
We have all that in this small little budget. That's why, you know, it's like, but it could be even better. It's like the difference between having one makeup artist on set and two makeup artists is a big thing.
Yeah.
To having a fight stunt choreographer and a fight stunt coordinator, both of them on set, that, I mean, enhances things. And like a couple $100 could mean like, you know, a good looking Batman outfit in the Batman outfit that might fall apart after he takes a swing or two. Or
I was going to say, what's the outfit going to be like? Where are you getting that from? Like,
That's to be announced.
That's to be announced. Okay.
I don't wait until part way into the, because I didn't want to, like, I have a few options, but I didn't want to, like, get set on one until I know that we're going to get this budget in and see if the stretch goal is met as well, if we get a stretch goal. But as far as stretch goal, if it goes beyond the 20,000 or beyond what we need, base 18, I also wanted to consider like just having it shown in a theater where people can actually see it, because and even if people are in different like cities or states and stuff like that, I'd even like to travel it out to them.
Yeah.
Like that,
what about film festivals? Have you thought about submitting it to film festivals when it's done?
Oh, actually, I have considered it because I seen we went to Comic-Con last year. There was one. There's I can't remember the company right now, but they specialize in putting fan films out in different regions. Right. But if it's what people are interested in, and even the people that are involved in it, then like if they are interested in it, then of course I'm leaning more towards.
Yeah, I mean, it would help spread the word and kind of like have more people see it. I mean, I would like it would help to like narrow it down to festivals that cater to like, you know, superhero type films or action or fantasy or whatever category, because like obviously like there's so many film festivals like all over, and I'm like, it wouldn't hurt to submit it and like, you know, get some more eyes on it. Like if somebody else really likes the project, like they might be like, hey, like I liked what you did with this like smaller budget, like what can you do with, you know, double the budget or triple the budget? So like you never know, you know, like might as well, like even if you even if you did get rejected, like it's part of the process. Like you're not gonna get accepted to all the film festivals, like trust me. I had like there was like some where I was like, oh my god, like they're all like responding, and then there was like some where I wasn't, like it was like rejection after rejection, and I was like questioning like everything. But I think that's part of being a director and a writer. Like sometimes people don't always like everything that you do, but then you try another one or try another audience and they're like, oh my god, I love this. So, you know, don't beat yourself up. Put
the vote out to the people. Anybody, all the contributors, I'll put the vote out to them. But I mean, this is when I want to take the Comic-Con. Because I said, like, for the past consecutive years, I've been consecutively been able to put our movie into Comic-Con. So it's going to premiere, world premiere is going to be at Comic-Con. And then from there, you know, let's see what happens. But I mean, I always loved the thought of touring a movie around, doing like a movie tour
That
and
would
going
be
to
super
different
cool.
like states and going because you can rent out theaters now and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
All
Okay,
those
so
film
your goal is
festivals.
to rent out theaters and then have the movie be played there. Yeah.
I always like to be there with that live audience like that.
Mhm.
But I mean, if the film festivals don't have stipulations like that, 'cause I,
Right.
some of them
There's
are like,
also
you can't
free
wear
ones too, like free to submit. Not all of them have a fee if you want to submit it, but there are a lot that do. So I can totally understand how like that adds up because it's like per submission. But I think submitting it to free ones, like why not? You know, like get it out there. Anything.
I've done that with a lot of screenwriting competitions.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, you mentioned you like won some, right?
Oh, yeah,
Some
go
sort-
ahead.
yeah, let's
Totally.
hear
Brag
about
about
that.
it. Tell
Tell me
know.
what you won.
Let people know.
so, I actually first started submitting to screenwriting contests during COVID. Like, I was locked down.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't go anywhere. I was with family in Virginia because California was not the hottest place to be during COVID. I didn't try them before because money. Some of them are pricey.
Right.
But my family was like, no, why not?
Right.
Like, why not put yourself out there?
Right.
So I tried.
Mhm.
And I started getting accolades.
Nice.
Like, not everyone I entered, of course,
Yeah.
because there are a lot
There's-
of ones that you enter and just nothing back from.
Right.
But first it was like quarterfinalist placements in like a few contests. And then started waking up to semifinalists.
Right.
And then like the big ones, finalists. And I'm like, oh wait, my
That's
little
amazing.
like feature
Yeah.
film that I wrote is a finalist in 2 different contests.
Mhm.
Like, and neither of them are just animating centric because I
Right.
wrote the animated film, and I was like,
Right.
who's gonna listen to an animation writer in this world? Because there's still a lot of like bias against that.
Oh, really? Like what? Like
A lot of people, like, we're getting better as a society, but a lot of people still look down on animation as, oh, that's kid stuff.
I
I've
love
heard that
animated
before.
movies. Like honestly, I don't know if I'm still a kid at heart, but I think the animated movies are one of the best movies. Like they're just
Yeah,
like they
especially
have
manga.
such story. Like those are like the few remaining movies that still like get a tear out of me, like a tear jerker,
Yeah.
or like I'm like
Yeah,
like
Up,
yeah,
Inside, like
I
Inside
cried
Out.
within the first like
I don't
12
even know if
seconds.
Inside Out for the kids.
Literally,
Inside Out
I'm
for the
like-
kids?
It's for everyone. The rule I always learn when it comes to that kind of content is like PG rated stuff.
Yeah.
That's not for kids.
Mhm.
It's for everyone,
Yeah.
not excluding kids.
Right.
If you think
I
about it like that, then
Yeah.
you don't write down for
Yeah.
a kid audience and you get a lot of garbage that
Yeah.
way. You
No, but
write
the
to
jokes
appeal
are for
to
adults
everyone.
too. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, like I'm like laughing. I'm like, I don't even think the kid understands
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
going on.
definitely,
Like this is
definitely.
hilarious, you know? But no, I totally love animated movies, and I don't think there's like an age limit on those. Like there shouldn't be an age limit to any films. It's not like you're
Exactly.
like too old for something.
Like, we're getting
any,
a-
animated, any film at all? What do you mean?
Well,
Any
like
animated
anime,
film?
yeah, like
Oh, okay.
like for me, it's like I don't have kids, and I'm certainly not a kid, but I will go watch like all the new kid movies. I always go and watch those. Like I'm
Yeah.
like that's my vibe. Like Super Mario Bros. I'm like I'm gonna watch or
Yeah.
Mario Part. What's the,
Yeah, Super Mario Bros.
I was like I'm watching that.
I like that movie a lot.
Coco is literally like one of my favorite movies.
Oh,
I think
I
it
like
was
Coco,
so
too.
well done, and like the music and everything. I don't know. I just love it. Inside Out was great. Up makes me cry like the first 12 seconds every time, even though I've seen it like 10 times already.
Spider-Verse.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
amazing.
There's just so many good animated movies. And like they tell like, they try to teach you a little lesson, or the only one thing that kind of bothers me is that they always kill off a parent, or like once like they just died or they left them or got abandoned. I'm
No.
like, can't they ever just have like a nice family situation? I mean, I know it's drama, but
That's like, I think that started with Disney.
It
was
did.
literally like, kids will
they're like
connect
kill off the
if
parent.
you kill off the parent.
Yeah, literally.
Braves.
Oh, yeah, there were parents alive in Brave.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they were.
So there are some that are like, there's not, well, I can't say it's not as often because we still get a lot of it.
Literally, yeah.
Like you
Every
feel-
princess movie, they don't have parents, or like
Oh.
they,
Oh,
like a
absolutely.
few do, but like they're always like, oh, like the Frozen, both parents died in
Oh.
a shipwreck.
Yes.
Like,
Took them both out.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 2 Earths, 1 Stone.
But still great movies. Like love it.
But yeah, there was that bias in competitions, and there
Mhm.
still is sometimes, which you just kind of have to,
Ignore.
accept. Because
Yeah.
there's always a chance
Or
a judge will just like it could, even though animation like is a good
Yeah.
example, like some will be like, you get a really amazing sci-fi script, but if the judge is like, I don't like sci-fi, but you're not going
Right.
anywhere, and you can't
Yeah.
control that.
Right.
Same way
Yeah,
with
yeah.
festivals. It's
Right.
like, you gotta try, even though like,
Mhm.
there's the chance that maybe they don't like that particular genre, or it could be something as like a screenwriter professor like explained it, like it could be like your film's about a dog and it could be the most amazing film about a dog ever, but if the judge doesn't like a dog,
if the dog is, if the judge is a cat person, then
they're
like, I don't care about the story.
I know actors sometimes deal with it too. It's like, you're an amazing actor, but you're too tall, sorry, and then just move on.
That's so sad.
I started placing as finalists, and then in 2022, I had that script, a different script I wrote in grad school, actually won the ISA Fast Track Fellowships Animation Division.
Oh my god, amazing. Wait, that's awesome. That's super cool.
It was my first big contest win. I was so excited about it.
Yeah, what did that feel like? Yeah,
it was amazing. It was like so much validation for all the effort that I put into the scripts, building the portfolio, like trying all these competitions, the amount of money I spent trying these competitions. But it was amazing, and it opened a lot of doors.
I was gonna say, what came with that? Like, did you get like prize money, a trophy, like distribution, or like what comes with sometimes winning the film festivals?
Well, all of those can come with with winning a film festival. This one came with cash and like a bunch of.
We like cash.
Cash is nice.
Cash is
not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm getting a bit of like that money I invested, like coming back.
Yeah.
It looks really great in our portfolio.
Yeah.
And like if you're advertising to like agents or managers or like potential employers, if you can say, I won a contest. Technically, even just like getting accolades shows, like as a writer, someone who's not like your friend or your mom has said you have good stuff.
True. That's so true. That's so true. You couldn't have said it better. Like super cool. And now that back to Batman and the Riddler.
Back to Batman and the Riddler. Sorry, side tangent.
Yeah.
$20,000.
So $20,000. So what? Okay, let's say we don't hit this goal, this money goal. What happens? Like, how can this be saved so it still gets done?
Besides, I'm crying and everything. By myself, sucking my thumb, and sitting in the shower under cold water, crying, rocking to sleep.
No.
In the
Play
water.
some Despacito.
Despacito.
Then I'm gonna just move back to Philly. So.
No. Like, how does one crank it out? You know, how do we get these donations?
That's the thing. Like, I tend to, when I go at these projects and stuff like that, tend to not have a safety net. Or a plan. I guess it'd be a loose plan B, but I can't. Like, it would just be time at this point. It would just be me saving up money, and maybe 5 years down the line or something like that. Then I can come back and revisit it, because something like this, like for these past 4 years, every movie that I've done, even Batman Beyond, I put some money up ahead of like first, and then that got funded. But you know, and everything I've done since has been like, you know, I use my own money, and I go to work and I use my own money, and I know it's hard, sacrifice and that type of thing. And like last year was just like the end of it. It was like I squeezed too much, and like I got, you know.
No, I get it.
The first movie I ever made, I sold my car to make it.
Wow.
So that type of thing. And then, you know, I made it, and I learned so much on that project. So it's things like that. Like, there's a lot of sacrifice come with trying to do it by myself without getting funding. I mean, I'm going to do the whole, you know, social media thing, and I'll boost the ads and things like that, just to get awareness and stuff like that. But, like I don't want to leave this one dead. It's such a good script.
No,
I mean, I still have to send it to you. But
I know, I can't wait to read it.
It's such a good script, and like what I already have the ideas for, and the people, that's what I want to touch on, the people that are lined up to work on it and stuff like that. Like, these guys are people, I call them my day oneers of California, because the first project I did out here was the Batman Beyond, and like that, so many volunteers. A lot of the money that came into it was just traveling and feeding them and getting locations, and then like video effects was a lot of it too. Right. But a lot of people came, didn't want any money, they didn't want any gas money, they like, give us some food. Yeah. And, you know, pay for, if they had to come out of pocket, I reimburse, that type of thing. Right. But like, you can't do that forever. People can't volunteer forever. And as I grew in my craft, these people that I've worked with have grown in their craft. Yeah. They're being paid to do what they do for a living now, and I'm so happy and proud of them and stuff like that. Right. And I never wanted, like, I was like, once I get to a certain point, I don't want to go to them and have, and ask them to volunteer again.
Yeah,
volunteer.
yeah.
I want to be I want to make these jobs. I want to
Yeah,
pay them what they're
totally.
worth and pay everybody what they're worth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So and that's why I would sacrifice and try to do that as best I could. And even with Constantine last year, that was like people still volunteered their time that I didn't have to. They like you don't have to pay or it'll be deferred, not deferred. It'll be less pay or payment and stuff like that, or they volunteer and they were like, just give me my takes or let me get the footage and stuff like that, and we're going to Comic-Con. But so where we're at now is just we got a lot of knowledge in what we're doing.
Right.
The video effects have upgraded, the costuming have upgraded, the makeup has upgraded, the cameras have upgraded. Like everything is like at professional level, and I'm still just 18,000 is all we need. So
exactly.
I mean, if I was to do this outside of like the friends that. Like, I don't know what the budget would be for this.
What have you learned from the other fan films that you've created, like Batman Beyond and Constant? Like, what can you? What did you take away from those sets, and what can you bring to this new set?
Oh, take away from that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because like, it's like all encompassing. It's like everything.
Everything. You're like, I learned so
like,
much. You do learn a lot from experience.
Each department is what it is, and I've built relationships with like. People on each department. Most recently from Constantine, I learned a lot from Mike Nolan. Shout out Mike, who did the audio. So I learned a lot about what professional audio people do.
Right.
And we talked about it during the Comic-Con panel. Yeah. Like just being in a room with him, looking over the movie and what he needs to do and what he needs in sound, even pre-production, what he needs on set. Right. Like learning things like that. Right. Throughout the years, I've learned makeup. Yeah, I was saying. I've learned from Kat Tanchenko how makeup artists like what they need, right?
The makeup fee and all that.
Yeah, just even on set, like things on set with safety, right, and things like that with the stunts,
sanitary stuff,
with stunts and everything. A lot of safety stuff will come into play with that. Just a lot of safety precautions on set with stunts, right? And then behind the camera, learned more about more video effects. I keep that I keep that sharpened in me. And then just a lot of camera work, just watching people, watching different DPs, cinematographers operate the camera, just looking over their shoulder. Because I'll be like, I know what I want it to look like. Right. They have to put it together, so I'll watch them and then, talk to them about it and stuff. There's a lot of that, just learning that. And as time goes and technology advancing with it and keeping up to date with it.
Right. Yeah. Always adapting too. Right. Well, what's like the tone and feel of the movie? Like, what color palette are you thinking? Have you thought about that yet?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
It's just that when I knew this was gonna look like this is a conversation we haven't had yet, but I don't know what I was curious what Hunter's was when he was writing it versus what I thought in my head when I was reading it. Yeah. Because like you can read a line that says, "Oh, get out of here." And I can read it like, get out of here. Like, you know what I mean? They give
like, how do you read it? Yeah.
And in my, like, that's why the whole thing, the whole, like, Batman Riddler and then 7, like, the whole dark. Like, it's dark and gritty in my mind. It's dark and gritty with a little bit of 80s cop feel to it a little bit.
Oh, okay. I like that.
But Batman himself is just shadows and dark. And it's not like I want him to be a little seasoned. It's like year 3 of Batman.
Year 3.
He's in the 3rd year, but he's known this detective for at least a year. He's known Commissioner Gordon for like 2.5 years, that type of thing. So it's still kind of new for him. Yeah. He's still like, but the shadows hug him a lot in this, and it's gritty. Yeah. And even like in Riddler scenes, it's like this little gritty. So, I mean, they're really for the kids, but I mean, the kids can watch it. It ain't like we ain't ripping eyeballs out and nothing like that.
We're not ripping eyeballs.
But how was it for you? Like when you're writing, what was the tone like for you? Were you writing it as an animator?
No, I'm not writing an animator. No, like there's a different visual process between writing for live action and anime, even when you're just imagining what it looks like.
Yeah.
Was it CW? Were you writing it like CW? Or?
I was writing it as its own thing. So like for like physical tone and color palette, I was thinking utilizing elements of blue for like some of the Batman scenes, the shadows. Like I probably had it a bit lighter than Nate because I know that he liked that. Yeah. Elements. I know Riddler scenes, elements of green. Also, those blue, some elements of purple would be integrated in. Right. To add like to help accentuate that feel of like elements of the elegance that I was trying to like right throughout, because it is a mind bender thing.
Yeah.
So as people are going through, like, trying to evoke emotions that went with, like, mental things.
Right.
Because the Riddler's signature is green. So as you're delving deeper into the film, like, progressing along, like, through the blues of the initial of Batman Far Away to utilizing a little bit more of the purples that lead into the green that make up the Riddler. Vocal tone, like, tone of the film wise, I was definitely leaning not quite as gritty as Nate, because I know he loves his grit, but that's okay. I can make some clean fabric, and then he can add the dirt.
Right. Yeah.
So I probably had it a bit more calm or playful than, like, Nate would be. Like, when I was, like, thinking Riddler, like, one of the elements I added, like, when he was at his computer, was, like, some gamer-style headphones to evoke the image of Riddler as a games player, combining, like, the elegance of a top hat with something modern, a little young and fresh. Well, not super young and fresh. Not like, oh, it's Teen Riddler on CW. No. Just like a little, like, into the modern tone of, like, the present era to something that would connect to those emotional feels. But also still elegant with, like, use of classical music or, like, elegant ways of putting or handing or acting combined with psychosis.
Right. Oh,
but the music, the classical music, he wrote the songs and the script and stuff like that.
I very much had a specific song in mind when I was thinking The Riddler. I had to look it up I knew the piece, but I had to look it up. I had to think how that music was utilized, because there are, like, that was one of the ways that I tried to integrate another element of elegance with psychosis.
I love that.
So those are ways that I was, like, the threads that I was weaving throughout as I was writing it. But one of the things that a writer always has to prepare for, and they have to accept that things will change from what you write to when it's filmed, and even when it's edited. Like, right now, I am working on a series for a company called the Rethink Group, and I know when I'm going in, like, I will write a script for this company, and I know, like, our showrunner, you have to accept as a writer, especially if you work in TV or episodic, the showrunner has the final say. And we have, like, an amazing showrunner. She's super great. Showrunners always get the last rewrite, so expect yourself it's going to get rewritten. As a writer, prepare for that. Don't let it get to you. Don't let it get angry, even if you're like...
Even though you're pissed, I'm just kidding.
Like, there will be times when, like... I'm like, I don't 100% enjoy how that changed, but, you know, you have to accept it. Or there will be times, like, where it's like, oh, I see what you did. That's really clever. I would not have thought of that. That's cool. Because we are a team. We are trying to...
I hope I get more of the latter.
I have said to Nate before that...
Stop changing my shit.
No. I'm like, stop it. What have you done here?
Yeah, how do you handle that? For example, if you think, like, okay, well, I'm sure because you're writing it. Like, obviously you have an attachment, you like it. But if like, let's say Nate's like, hey, like, I don't love this scene. Like, how do you handle criticism and feedback when you're writing?
Feedback.
Well, you see, I have this collection of voodoo dolls.
Take this. You're like,
I'll text
arms
you.
Nate, like, snaps out. He's like, what happened?
I recently gave you list of, what did I call them?
Notes. Well, no, you
notes.
You used an additional. You used a different term for them, but they were basically notes.
Notes. Okay.
So,
and I was like, he gonna kick my ass. It's like 12 different notes.
No, they were good notes.
Okay, cool.
Like, there were some things I was like, I'm not sure if this will work with the tone, which I told you about. That's one thing. Always have open communication.
Right. Communication's key.
But also, like, writers, you will get notes. Do not think you're going to write a first draft or a third draft and you're going to hand it to a director and they're going to say,
like, perfect.
It's perfect.
No change. Yeah.
It's like, oh, just let us give you more money and I'll kiss your boots and get you a latte. No, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Like, you're going to get notes and you're going to have to make the changes. The key is you're trying to make changes that everyone's going to be happy with, which it's not often going to work. Someone will be ticked, and there will be things where you have to change something that you really love. And the options are either you change it, or if you're in a studio environment, they'll find someone else to change it.
Yeah, exactly. You will be replaced.
So the better option is figure out how to change it in a way that is the best possible compromise.
This is all for directors too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I have actors in my mind for different roles, but I do like to like with the Riddler. Once I give it to the actor that I'm thinking of, or whoever gets cast as actor, or even as Batman or Detective Yin, I like to hear them as well. I like to hear their like go back and forth.
Of course.
What do you like? How do you feel about Detective Yin? What do you like? I'll initially have a talk about how the tone of the story is, and you know what it's all about, and then.
But it's like a collaborative experience.
Yeah, when they read it, and then that's how I work. I like to have, I like to hear what their input too.
Yeah,
and Nate's really great for that. He's so good at communicating. Like he'll ask your opinion, and there will be there will be times where it's like he's gonna do a thing, but we trust him because we know he's got the skills.
Right.
Like I have seen him like take things like in Constantine. Like sure, there were moments where I'm like, I'm a little fuzzy here, but okay. But there are also moments where I saw, this is real cool. I see what you did. You took this thing and you made it real nice. And that's what you get when as a writer, when you're working with a good director, someone who can enhance your material rather than just show, like just flip it on its head. It's now trash. Right. Because I've worked with some directors before where it's like I wrote a script for them, sometimes for free, and I'm like, okay, here's the script, which. People out there, if y'all looking to hire me, don't be expecting free.
Won't be free. Yeah, you gotta pay up.
It's like, I'm getting paid for this business now.
Make your money.
But like, I've worked with directors who entirely didn't communicate with me, missed the point of the script.
That's already a red flag, the communication.
Yes. And, or if they didn't get something, like, they didn't ask questions. Like, they just sort of like, oh, I don't get this, so throw it out, change it, or... like an entire missed plot point. There was one script that I had that was entirely built on the idea that as the script was going on, you didn't know these two characters were in the same location. Like the actors were positioned on opposite sides of a tree, and then that was part of the visual twist.
Got it.
The director first shot, they're in the same location.
No.
And I was like, well.
You're like, there goes everything that I wrote.
Whoops.
That's actually a cool idea too, and I like the way that you wrote that. Damn, what a waste.
I was gonna say that's very important for this particular screenplay, which I had some questions. Like I've sent them like certain parts. I was like, oh, so why Commissioner Gordon? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then he had to break it down because these are riddles and it's the Riddler. Right. You can't come half stepping with half like what's black and white and red all over. You can't be just hitting them with like
no,
like
it has to be
first grade riddles. I'm like, all right, hold on now.
You're like
break down the whole plan to me, and cause I mean I'll read a script, but it's like I guess like when Will Smith turned down The Matrix because he said it was like too much. He was like, I don't know what's going on in here. Yeah, like I want to understand the piece because if I don't understand it, how am I gonna?
How are you gonna how are you gonna make it come to life as a director?
Which that's really important for things like mysteries and heist films.
Yes.
Or anything that's complex. Yeah. Like I've heard of people who are like writing mysteries and they're like, yeah, I know who the culprit is. Okay, then why did they do these things if that's their motivation? You got to the culprit, or they don't know who the culprit is. Like they don't know who done it until the end. I've heard of a TV series that was a whole mystery, and they didn't know who done it.
Is that all?
And then the moment they figured out who done it, the audience loved the show. But then when the reveal happened, they were like, "That's trash."
No! Oh, that's the word. Yeah, that.
But for these things, you have to be able to follow and explain every single thread. And especially you should be able to explain it to someone because if they're like listening to you talk and they're not getting it, there's a good, like, as you're like laying it out, like if you can't explain it simply to someone, like it's going to be complex, of course, but you should be able to help them follow the threads. Yes. But if even after that, like they're like, but why this? Or I don't get this. Or why that? If they're just asking questions, you probably need to go back and clean those threads, smooth the fabric.
And that's what we did. That was what was done with this one too. With this, and I wish we could explain it and tell you, but then there's so many spoilers because like we can't tell you no riddles.
I have like two questions. I was like before, like I was like, can I get a log line or like kind of like what this or like
the log line?
Is a log line giving away too much, or can we? Just for the fans and the people listening, to know.
What is the Dark Knight detective must peel back layers of riddles to discover the master plan of a clever serial killer.
Oh,
good,
okay. Yeah.
And I worded it that way, like with a clever serial killer. Like, we know it's the Riddler.
Yeah.
I didn't say the Riddler. I just put, that must go back layers of riddles to discover the master plan of a clever serial killer. And he's killing people.
And he's killing people.
People going to die. There's going to be some riddles.
There's going to be murder.
And because of the riddles and that type of film, it's like tough to talk about. And
right. You don't want to give it,
especially for mysteries.
Right. We're I'm like, okay.
And like, and we're not going to be putting out trailers where you just show the whole movie and things like that.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
I hate it because I'm like, okay, I already saw the whole movie in the trailer. Like, why am I going to go watch it?
But contributors to Kickstarter, there are tiers if y'all need to know and y'all want to know.
Where can we donate? How can we donate? What are the tiers? And when's the final deadline for the last donation?
Our final deadline is August 14th.
August 14th is the deadline. Okay.
Yes. My birthday, August 9th. That could be the deadline.
My birthday's August 9th.
Yes.
Oh, happy early birthday, y'all.
Great Leos. Oh, give me a Coke. Jinx.
Ha!
Double jinx.
Oh, that's funny.
But, so August 14th, and you can go to natelyles.com, and eternalproject.com. I was like, there's a link to the Kickstarter, but the link to Kickstarter is like so long. It's like Kickstarter.com.
We can add it in the description so people can just click the link to.
If you go to natelyles.com, the first thing that pops up is going to be the thing for it, and then you can click on that.
Perfect.
So all on our social medias and things.
Yeah, what's your guys' social medias?
Instagram, Lyles Nate. natelyles.com. Get everything in there.
You get everything there.
Yes.
As for me, I have my Instagram at Hunter Klein Writes. Very simple.
Love that.
I don't have too much on there. I mostly have 2 things that I won on a Screencraft Discord server, as well as my interview from when I was a finalist in the Portland Comedy Film Festival.
Amazing.
Try to keep it a little bit professional, even though I occasionally share things. Maybe a puppy here or 2.
I love it.
And then you can also find a lot more about my work on Coverfly, as I think I am probably the only Hunter Klein on Coverfly at the moment.
Very cool.
You can see my numerous accolades and some of my projects.
Love that.
Spoiler alert, I think I'm up to 26 accolades listed on the site, in addition to some that are unlisted.
The site is officially launched, so make sure you guys click and donate. There's going to be the link in the description.
What are rewards?
Rewards. Yeah, what are the rewards?
I'll touch on those a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. A list of the rewards for contributing to the campaign. You get the name of the movie credits, their merch discounts. You can get like this type of thing here from our company. Make movies. You get a hats, t-shirts, hoodies of that, digital copy of the script. When we have a rap party and do a table read, you get to join us via remotely. You get to join us on there. When we're shooting, we'll have a camera set up so you can watch us shoot the film live. You have dinner with the cast and crew, a virtual call with me. I don't know how exciting it's going to be for anybody, but
hey, that's pretty cool.
We'll talk good.
Details on the film.
You get a prop from the movie.
Nice.
And what else? Access to the live stream. There's also a chance to get a movie role, non-speaking movie role, part in the movie.
Nice.
Invitation to our podcasts, live stream editing sessions, and then executive producer credits and things like that. And tickets to Comic-Con when we premiere at Comic-Con.
Whoa, that's amazing. There's a lot of rewards that you can get when you donate. And even $1 goes a long way. Even if you think $1 is not gonna, is not enough money, every dollar really does count. And sharing it onto your social media platform would be very helpful and generous. So I'm sure we would all really appreciate that.
That's why I try to make these rewards so that you're part of us making it. Like you're part of your hands-on and getting to see behind the scenes and helping us make it, things like that.
Donate. Help us bring the vision to reality.
Bring Hunter's script to life. Bring Nate's vision to life.
Yes.
Let's see it happen. I'm so excited.
She trying to act like she ain't gonna be there. She's gonna be working on it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, go donate right now.
Dive with us into our web of riddles as we grow ever closer to our Riddler's depraved mind.
Exactly. Let's see if you can figure out those riddles.
Right.
But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and go subscribe and go donate. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Have an awesome weekend, y'all.